Hello, everyone. Good morning. Travis Kestner, TK Lighting Design. I had a moment here of creativity that I just wanted to share, and nothing that I've thought of, just shooting from the hip because I feel like that's the best place that creativity can be born from. Um, I want to show you guys the facade of a building for lighting design and also talk a little bit about Twinmotion and SketchUp and maybe give you some ideas on how to use it and how to place your lighting and think about your exterior lighting in your facade. So if you look here, we have a 3D model of a house, and this house we got from SketchUp, just their 3D warehouse library, and I downloaded it from that library into SketchUp and saved it, and then in Twinmotion here, you can just open up Twinmotion if you have it. For those of you who don't, you can Google Twinmotion. If you're not a huge company making millions of dollars, it's actually free. It's a great resource and very helpful visualization tool for renderings and for uh, product vehicles, those types of things. It's a very impressive powerhouse. But once you download your file and you have SketchUp file, you can literally direct link it. So that way, when you go to import here, you have several options. You have geometry, which is the 3D model, direct link, which is the link that I used, animation, landscape, and point cloud. You select it based on what you're trying to import, and the direct link actually allows you to import, or excuse me, to send updates to Twinmotion in real time. So if you make changes to your model in SketchUp, you add something differently, it will automatically populate in here if you toggle on the auto sync for that direct link. Right now it shows broken because I don't even have SketchUp open. I'm just strictly using Twinmotion for lighting rendering here to show you guys. So this is a typical home, not a typical home, but a nicer home. And we want to talk about lighting design. In Twinmotion, it's pretty easy once you get the hang of it. Over here, there's some materials, objects, materials you place onto the objects to affect it. Like we could go do different metal here and bring in, ooh, make it look like a gold house. That'd be cool. Um, maybe if you're really rich, a little bronze there. Um, if you want metal siding, oh, that's where I just was. Wood siding instead. You can see what it might look like with wood. You can also turn up the grunge a little bit, make it look, turn down the luminosity, turn it up. You can really do a lot of things to adjust it. And it looks like the model that I imported, uh, the material for these exterior walls was the same, so it changed everything. Um, some ways we can counteract that is if we come up here to this material and you replace by material or apply to that specific object. Because if the same material is in this wall and this, if I change that material with the previous one selected, the previous option, um, it would change it all. If I just select apply to object, it should just change that object. There you go, like that, or like that. And then, so it looks like that object is connected there, so it's changing all of that. But you can kind of see and get the idea. We can, if we want, we can adjust the scale of the wood here, stretch it on the x-axis, stretch it on the y to make it stand out more. There you go. There you go. Now that actually looks like wood siding, kind of like what we're going for. So you can see over here is the column of materials, objects, lights, lots of different things. You can import 3D models. You can import things from Sketchfab, other items that people have created. You just want to give them credit for it if you're using it. And here's your main operation window. It has all the controls showing how to navigate over here is your properties and scene. You can select whatever property you're working on. You can adjust or excuse me, select whatever material or object that you're working on, and then go in and adjust those properties to fine tune it and make it look really nice and stand out. Um, Down here is you have a different tab that comes up when you select. That's the import. You saw that. Um, Materials shows you all the materials that are on the current project. Populate. You can go through maybe for another time, but I'll show you. But you can go through and create paths to make it look like people are walking. Media, very important when you're doing presentations. You can come here and add different media images as well, and then export your media that you've created. You can actually create videos as well too, so it's pretty handy. Um, by far one of the most powerful visualization tools I've used. So, but we're going to talk about some lighting design here. And I'm still in media mode. How do I get out of that? Let's go to import. Let's go. You get to watch me fumble here through. Why is it still doing that? Oh, because I need to come in and click quit media mode. There we go. And we'll go ambience, and we can adjust the time of day here, make it so the sun goes down, so it looks like it's dark out. Oh, the moon's coming up. The moon's nice and bright. Dang, we'll get kind of like right there. Okay, so now the house is dark. We're going to add in some lighting here. Typical lighting layout, we do, maybe if you're doing a lighting layout, it would be like 4 can lights. That's how it usually gets done. Maybe in a bigger overhang, it would be 6 of them. There's nothing wrong with that. That's considered lighting layout. Let's see. We're going to take this here. We'll adjust the color temperature. Exterior usually should be a little warmer, 3000K. And also usually if you have downlights underneath this soffit here, it's not going to be throwing light up. You can see it's kind of showing it up. That's because we got to come down here and I have all these lights selected. So we're going to enable shadows. That way it's not going through the objects or materials. That's pretty helpful. You would want to leave that unchecked if you were putting an omnidirectional light source inside, like a shade or something like that. So that way the shade didn't stop the light from leaving. So that doesn't look too bad, but maybe some other creative ideas would be to accent the facade with light instead of just putting on the omnidirectional lights that maybe are just like there and there, you know. Um, you come here and you do a indirect downlight. We'll come in, and this is where the lighting design comes in, and you get a little fast, a little bit more specific on like fixture placement, um, beam angle, those types of things. Color temperature, we'll adjust it to 3000K. Maybe have it on a schedule on a dimmer, so that way it's programmed to only come on maybe even just 50 lumens, nice and soft there. And then we'll go ahead and copy that light, and then I'll take it and just turn it around 180 degrees. So it's an up-down light. We'll enable the shadows, give some texture, and now we will select both those lights, copy it, and move it over here. So that way it's like that. Then if you want to make it look more real, you can come in here to objects, primitives, get a cylinder, uh, place it there, and then we'll just rotate that one 90 degrees, and we can shrink it uh, and place it so it looks like it's the actual light source. Maybe it's like a up-down wall cylinder sitting there, and then we can come over here to materials and go to concrete or metal, get something black and put it in there. And depending on how specific you want to get, um, we can even copy that, bring it down, shrink it really small, shrink the outer diameter too, and then come here to this material picker. So you take the dropper and you select the object that you want. Make sure that you have applied to object, so you're not doing it to everything with the same material. And you come down to emissive, and you can, I'll see, obviously I'm doing it to the whole material. Oh, or I have the wrong material selected. Maybe that's why. Let's see. Let's go in here and get specific. Yep, I did. I had the wrong one selected. I accidentally clicked the wall. We'll come back down here to emissive, make that shine. So it looks like there's a light coming from there. It's pretty cool. And then we can put a filter over it, make it a little warmer. That way it's like, oh, that's that warm 3000K. And we'll come back here, copy it, and bring it up. So it's popping out the other cylinder, other side. Okay. And then we want to copy all that and go Control C, Control V. And so when you see me do a paste, you see this instance or copy comes up. Instance means it's going to treat it the same. If I make an adjustment to one of these, even though it's copy, it's going to do the same adjustment to the other one. A copy is just a copy, and I can edit that one freeform. So a lot of they use that terminology in Twinmotion is like material instances. They are going to adjust if you adjust one of them. So like I'll just show you here. If you look at this, when I adjust this cylinder, the other one should adjust with it too. Looks like I'm full of it. Did I not do it right? Today on Travis's education, he lies. Let's see. I'm just curious if these ones are the same ones. No, not really. Okay, well, moving on. We'll continue that one later. But so if you want, if you're thinking about designing and laying out a house here, that's where we do the layers of light, because maybe you don't want all this. This light should maybe just be on when you're entertaining outside or barbecuing. And then at nighttime, when everyone's asleep and maybe you just want, or no one's outside, you just want to highlight your features. That's why you do the vertical up down cylinders. Maybe draw a little bit of attention to your facade, and it doesn't have to be overkill. I mean, I can go nuts on the overkill, and when I start talking about lighting, clients want usually lots of this, lots of different things highlighted. But if you accent everything, you accent nothing. So sometimes it's important to just also be subtle and just do some little drawn attention here and there is very important as well. So then let's see if we come down here and turn off these omnidirectional lights. You know, you kind of get that feeling. Then maybe you're coming in and putting in some softer lights here. You know, uh, you want lights that you can adjust and aim in the housing, so that way it can be aimed towards the house, you know, or away a little bit, however you need it to have it highlight the facade that you're trying to accent. We could do something like that. Oh, here we go. Here's an instance. Let's see. Let's do, whoops. Control, copy, paste. Do another instance. You know, and then it should work here now if I just adjust one. Their intensity, they all will adjust. That's the instance, the way it should work. We'll dim that down. Maybe just so it's kind of just creating this soft feeling, you know. Um, and if maybe that's not their style, you do the highlight the front here, and you can come in and do something like a graze light on the brick here, just the front. That is, whoops, 4 million K. Just kidding, 3000 K. Turn it down, back it off. Shadows will enable that. I'll kind of aim it down. Still is showing quite a bit brighter than I would like it to. Let's see here, how do I dim that down? Graze light would be placed closer to the wall. Wall wash would be more backed off and aimed towards it, kind of creating that uniform light. But a graze, it's usually a narrower beam and it gets more light. It shoots it out kind of like uh, water out of a garden hose. You know, if it's all open and no pressure, then the water's not going very far. If it's tight and narrow, the water shoots a lot farther. And water is a wave. Well, guess what? Light is particle and a wave too. It works the same way. So if you have narrow optics, you're actually getting more functional light to the ground, to the point that you're aiming your water spigot, your light fixture at. Versus if there's no optics, you're losing 90% of your light output the first 3 to 4 feet. That's why sometimes when you see these $4 million homes being lit with these $9 wafer lights in a 14-foot ceiling, it takes about 1 million of them to get the actual light that you need down to the ground there, and it doesn't look very good. If you have that, I'm sorry, in your house, it looks great. Let's see. Let me turn this down here. Dim down that. Yeah, we can kind of dim that down. Also go 25, make it a little bit softer. Kind of like that. You know, 15 makes it just look like there's just this soft little light bleeding down. And I'll do the same thing over here to match that. And then that way we're highlighting the architecture, kind of making it stand out. And I want to do this down on the lower side too as well. You know, maybe that's the feeling. Excuse me. Let's see, let's turn these guys down as well. 15. So that way it's on a dimmer. We're showing that it's nice and soft. 10. Creates a nice kind of warm feeling where you can see the house, but not everything's illuminated. And then during the daytime or during the nighttime when everybody wants to be out and about, then you have a separate switch or preferably a control system, where you can still override the button, but uh, it would be nice if the outside lights kicked off automatically. Oh, here they are. And then you could um, just kick that on when you need it, get the adequate light levels for while you're outside and hanging out, and then kick it off, and then you get that very different feeling in your house, in the space, because that you get that facade, that design. And a lot of times it doesn't have to be overkill. It can just be a couple little highlights, little accents here and there. Um, and I'll be honest with you guys, because I probably not the best salesman technique. Everyone wants to be like, oh, this is for everyone. But lighting design, when you're doing a lot of the stuff, it's not necessarily making it easier. I'm not gonna lie to you, it's not like just cutting in a can light and put it in there. It's more complex work. It takes a contractor and a willing desire to be different, to stand out, to put in extra effort. The the time and effort it takes to even design this and then put it onto a 2D print and make it legible, and then even taking it to the team, there has to be a team who can read it and transfer it into an installation process. So it takes a lot of work, and it's not necessarily for the faint of heart. Um, but if you want to just keep it simple and you don't want to necessarily go all the way out for that, but maybe you just want a couple little design features here and there, you can think about the light fixture that you pick out having a shroud covering the light source, so that way it's just light spill. It's not just light being thrown everywhere. It's being controlled and focused and aimed towards the house, towards the building, um, and also on a dimmer, so that way it can dim down. It's not the full output. Thinking about a lot of those things really helps out while you're planning and trying to pick out the lights. And then instead of just going completely nuts, maybe it's just 6 fixtures on the outside. Like, hey, I want to highlight this, and then we're gonna still have the typical downlighting, so that way we can have it nice and bright when we want to entertain and guests are over. And that's going to be on a separate switch leg. Um, that's where it's really helpful to have plans, to have it all mapped out, and wiring diagrams as well for the electrical contractors, so they're not necessarily uh, wiring uh, it on the same circuit or same zone. Uh, yeah, or maybe if you're doing it yourself, I don't know. But just some thoughts there. I hope that helped out. If you have any projects or questions or would like to team up, please reach out you can follow us on our website at www.tklightingdesign.com, or email me at tkessner@tklightingdesign.com. And hopefully in the future here, I'm going to be putting together some courses for some design, if those of you that want to do it yourselves and are interested in learning more about this. So hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and thanks for tuning in. See ya.